I'll admit it, I'm not typically a sports romance girly, but when I heard Amazon Prime was making The Deal into a series, I was like, okay, fine. Maybe I need to read some sports romance. I have yet to venture into sports romance. I have read other Elle Kennedy work, and I knew this book was going to be great, but let's compare The Deal to the Off-Campus series on Amazon Prime. Now, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I purposely gave myself the challenge of reading The Deal before the series came out because I didn't want to go into this blindly. I've read other Elle Kennedy books. I've read the Avalon Bay series, which includes Good Girl Complex, Bad Boy Reputation, and The Summer Girl. And if you've seen my channel before, you will know that I loved Good Girl Complex and I hated the other two. Like, the second one was not good compared to the first one at all whatsoever. That being said, I do like Elle Kennedy's writing, so I was like, you know what? This is an author that I actually like. Let me get into sports romance. Let me dive right in with The Deal. So during my most recent reading challenge where I was trying to see how much I could read on a weekend away, I picked up The Deal by Elle Kennedy. I was really excited about it. I really like this author. And let me just say, this book did not disappoint. I never gave you guys a full review of it, so we're going to start with the review because in my last vlog, let's just say that I finished the vlog with having 60 pages left in that book, and due to a chaotic travel day, was unable to finish it that day. That travel day was not what we had expected. We were on a flight from Tampa to LaGuardia. The pilots then came on the overhead and were like, LaGuardia is shut down, so like we're gonna try to land at JFK. And then they were like, oh, JFK is also shut down. And they're like, oh, we're gonna land at Newark. We land at Newark and you guys can get off if you want, but we're not opening up the luggage area. So if you checked a bag, like it's gonna be at LaGuardia. So we did take the flight from Newark to LaGuardia. So I finished it literally the day I posted that video. That being said, The Deal by Elle Kennedy, I really enjoy it, but I also am a trope lover of fake dating. And at the end of the day, The Deal is fake dating. Like it's literally called The Deal because the deal is that she's going to tutor him and he's going to be her fake boyfriend. I thought it was very entertaining. I really liked the main characters of Garrett Graham and Hannah Wells. I also really enjoy like the narrative of a super nerdy girl in college because that was me. And my now boyfriend at the time was the person who would also take my notes. So like you can understand why I enjoy that. That being said, I was excited to read this book, but I was nervous I wouldn't understand the hockey portion of it. I went to a hockey college. I, of course, understood the hockey portion. I don't know why. I'm selling myself short here. I really liked the female main character and male main character, and when I get into this review, I realized I did not put any spoiler warnings here, so I'm going to say that now for you guys. Spoiler warning. If you have not read The Deal by Elle Kennedy, you might want to skip past this review because I'm going to mention things that are going to be spoilers. Also being said, I am mentioning the off-campus Amazon Prime series, and that being said, I have watched the whole thing at this point, and this is my general review of the whole series, mentioning what was the same, what was different, everything like that. So maybe if you haven't seen the series, this isn't the video for you. All right, now that we've been through that, let's get into the review. I really enjoyed the fact that these two people were polar opposites. Honestly, I didn't realize it until I was done reading the book and started watching the Amazon Prime show that this low-key reminds me of High School Musical. Like, I'm just being so for real with you guys. You have a girl who's nerdy and good at everything, and she's also a singer, and then you have a sports guy who is coming in and literally falls for her first. Come on, guys. This is High School Musical. Like, as you get through the book, you really get to learn both Hannah and Garrett. And I will say, what I liked about this book was it felt like you were learning the characters along with them learning each other. So when I say that, I mean like Hannah, her big shtick is that she does not drink at parties because she was previously, I'm trying to think of the wording I can use on YouTube. She was previously, say, roofied on YouTube. Okay, I Googled it. I can say roofied. Hannah was previously roofied at a high school party, so she's very much like, I'm never drinking in front of anybody. And Garrett doesn't understand it, but you begin to find out that he is flawed as well himself. So he has different boundaries. And I think that what was so great about this story is you begin it and you're like, oh, this is a very simple narrative of a really smart girl who is going to help him study, and then she wants to date this guy, Justin Cole, and he's helping her get to that, right? It begins at that, but then it becomes this bigger story of talking about Hannah's experience being roofied at a party, how she was, I don't think I can say this word on YouTube, RAPED in high school. And then it goes on to how Garrett and his father was a bad person. Like, he domestically abused him. And it really begins to be these two super flawed characters after the actual fake dating is over and they decide that they actually want to be together. It becomes these two super flawed characters working to fix each other in a weird way, but like in a healthy way. I enjoyed that aspect of it. I think that this book was really entertaining, and I actually, okay, I'm gonna say it, I don't like a third act breakup, but I do think that in this narrative, the storyline for it did make the stakes higher nearing the end of the book. So the fact that his father comes into her job and is like, you're not dating my son anymore. And I mean, should she have told him? Yes, she should have. But listen, I get it. You barely know the guy, like, and you know that he is in a domestic abuse relationship with his son. I wouldn't want to tell his son that either, that happened. Just saying, wouldn't want to say that. I thought that was really well done, and I liked the end of the book. I'm not sure if I'll read the rest of the series, but because I'm in the middle of a million series right now. But regardless, I enjoyed the deal a lot. So I finished the deal on May 12th. May 12th. The Amazon Prime show came out on May 13th. I'm not even kidding you. I literally got it done just in time. I, filming this right now, have only watched 2 episodes of it, and I have been taking notes. I'll show you guys my notes because I want you guys to realize how locked in I am to making this video. This is how locked in I am. Look at all these notes. These are my notes on the episode. I'm going to film the rest of this video when I have watched all 8 episodes. As a little preview here is, I didn't know this series was going to have me literally screaming during the pilot, because there are a lot of differences. Before we get into that, I will also put in here that in case you guys haven't seen my channel before, I often do reviews like this. I've done it for Project Hail Mary. I've done it for People and Me on Vacation. I plan to do it for The Love Hypothesis, which I can't wait for that movie. My credibility here is that I have a degree in cinema studies and journalism. I actually was on a screenwriting track, and to be honest, my dream job is literally adapting books to be movies. So I have found my slice on the internet reviewing and deciding if adaptations were great or not. With all that being said, let's get into the series review later. I just finished Off Campus Season 1 and we are going to talk about it now. To begin, we're gonna not talk about the discrepancies between that video and this video. It's nearing my bedtime and I finished it a day earlier than I thought I was going to, so we're gonna go through all my notes. I took episode by episode notes just because the book is so fresh to me since I just read it that I had exact things to say. So I'm gonna just read the notes and we're gonna go from there. So episode 1, the biggest thing that really bugged me was that she plays clarinet and is a composition major when she was a music major in the book. And it may seem like that's like a very minimal thing, but like, I don't know, I felt like it kind of changed the storyline, but she ends up at the pop showcase, so like it's fine. Next, I thought the acting was cringy in episode 1. You could tell that they definitely filmed sequentially, and it took until like episode 3 for me to be like, oh yeah, this chemistry read is insane. Like, I get it now. But episode 1, I was like, oh no, I don't know if I'm gonna like this show. I also don't remember the exact beginning portion of her actually working at the hockey rink in the book, but I wouldn't be surprised if they changed that. I don't really think it changes much in the storyline, but I thought it was interesting and I wrote it down. I feel like they did a good job with Malone's, like the actual restaurant, diner, bar place that they're in. But I was confused because in the book they distinctly say it's like a 1950s themed diner. So I was just like, oh, like where's the 1950s theme? But I think it worked as like a good setting that wasn't the school for a lot of the events that happened. This one really pissed me off. Justin Cole is not a music major. Justin Cole 100% is a football player. I feel like it's so interesting that they changed it to be from her liking sports guys to her being into another musician. But I feel like that storyline was good, having him be a jerk. I don't know, but I was just like, oh, he's not supposed to be in music. Like, he's not supposed to be in music. So the plot line of Phil Graham's girlfriend, Cindy, was brought in the first episode, which I thought was really crazy because you don't really get to know anything about Garrett and his father until much later when Hannah knows about it. So I thought it was interesting that they had Garrett's dad show up as early as they do. I mean, from like a screenwriting point of view, I totally understand that like a character like that and having Garrett have so much trauma from this character would make it so that you have to introduce him sooner rather than in the book where you like learn along with Hannah. So like that makes sense for the storytelling aspect of it. That being said, like I'm mad Cindy didn't leave in this version of it. That's it. I'm mad she didn't leave because at the end of the book, she left. This was another thing. In the first episode, I feel like for the actual deal itself, they didn't really set up the stakes for it, right? So there's like there was never a moment when Garrett was stressing out that he wouldn't be able to be on the hockey team anymore because of his grades. And that was like the whole premise of him needing a tutor in the book. I felt like they didn't properly align those stakes, but like once again, the book tells the story a bit different than the actual show does. So wrote a few questions from episode 1. Number 1, why is the dad showing up at Garrett's house? 2, Cindy and Phil are getting married. 3, Delaney goes to Briar. And I also wrote down that the story, when it comes to the book, didn't really feel like a he falls first, but I feel like that's also because we're in Hannah's point of view for so long. But the show definitely is more of a he falls first, which I like, so like I'm not complaining. But that's just different there too. Episode 2, I only have 3 bullet points. Number 1 is that Instagram is such a big thing in this show. And it's so funny because this book came out in 2015, which is like when Instagram had just started. So I feel like the inclusion of Instagram and like making it more like, you know, up to speed now with how things are, like it was a good use of it. Also, the social media girl Jules wasn't in the book. I have a lot to say about Jules, but not in episode 2. And then the final one was that the Allie storyline is not in the deal, which I read the deal. I haven't read Allie's book with Dean. And let's just say one of my main conclusions from watching this show is that I will be reading that book. I fear I'm a Dean girl. Okay, episode 3, anyway. Episode 3, I really liked how it was evident that Garrett was jealous of Justin getting songwriting time with Hannah. Thought that was a good part there. I also included that the he falls first is so heavy in this, and like I enjoy it. I think almost everybody who's watching this show enjoys that. Oh, I was really happy that they kept the scene where she walked in on Garrett sleeping with someone else. As silly as that sounds, I feel like that's a very pivotal moment in the book. So I was very happy to see that. Also, the costuming was really good because if you've read the book, you'll know that one of his nicknames for Hannah is Stripper Tits. And they put her in the red shirt that they described, which was like a corset type of shirt, which was strapless. And I think costuming did a great job on that because that is one of those key things that like the people who've read the book will know that that's important for the book part of it. And it was mostly because Garrett loved that shirt and he was very attracted to her in it. Episode 3 is where I really began understanding Jules's character because they really needed a buffer between Hannah and Logan. Because here's the thing, right? The show made Logan seem so obsessed with Hannah. And I know like that, like the book made him seem like that too. And like I'm presuming that the second book is like that. I haven't read the second book. But I liked that Jules was there to create a buffer between the two of them so that Logan could really have his own storyline. Like, we get to know about his mother's in rehab. We get to learn about, like, his family. Like, it was a good way to like kind of mold us into what's coming next. Oh, and I wrote down that I was sad that there was no episode like so okay, there was this scene where they were in bed together after the one party and they listened to music together. In the book, they stay up all night after studying, watching Breaking Bad, and that's like one of the first moments that they realize they like each other. And I missed that scene. I wish they would have done that scene, but they had a lot of inserts of them watching Dirty Dancing together, which is, I'm okay with that. That is fine with me. I just wish we got that moment, like before the big party, of like them hanging out outside of like schoolwork and like really realizing how much they like each other. Okay, episode 4, my first bullet for that one starts out with like a thumbs up, and the thumbs up is the storyline about Garrett asking Dean advice for how to sleep with a girl who's never slept with somebody was almost exactly how I remember it in the book, and I thought that they did a really good job when it came to transposing that to be screenwriting versus like fiction writing. Well, I enjoyed the drunk Shakespeare. I'm not sure if that's like a I'm not sure if this part of the book was more of they changed it up for the show or not. I don't remember them doing drunk Shakespeare in the book, but at the same time, this series itself is molding together the deal and also the score, which I think is Ellie and Dean's book. So, like, I don't know if maybe that happened in the other book, I don't really know. I enjoyed it though, and I thought it was a fun addition. And then there was also something I noted here that there was a really interesting conversation between Logan and Garrett about not getting everything you want in regards to Hannah. And Garrett literally says that Hannah was a distraction, which is so interesting. And I feel like this was hinting towards the ending for me because Garrett, in like book Garrett, would have never said that Hannah was a distraction. Never. He would have never said that about her. So the fact that show Garrett was saying that and like the ending was changed makes a lot of sense, but we'll get back to that. And then my last note for that episode was literally in all caps, oh my god, her serenading them on the ice. Him on the ice. Episode 5, first bullet point here is the lasagna. If you guys have read the book, you will know the significance of the lasagna. Basically, it's when Garrett and Hannah just first get together and he has to go to practice. So instead of letting Tucker make every meal around the house, Hannah doubles her grandmother's lasagna recipe and makes it for the boys, which is so sweet. And I thought that was I liked how they hinted at it. It like is one of those moments where it like doesn't really drive the plot, so I get why they don't include it, but like I liked that we got a glimpse of it for the people who do understand what that meant. I did put in there that actual scenes of the main characters getting to know each other was cut for some smut scenes, which is fine. I mean, listen, it's a show. It's not a big deal. And at the end of the day, like I feel like when it comes to transposing like books to shows or movies, like you're always going to miss something. I was okay with them not including like a lot of that portion, but my boyfriend I think said it best when we were watching it. You never really got an idea of like what the actual timeline of how long Hannah and Garrett had been together for was. So that made it a little wishy-washy there, but like I get it. Like they were at the beginning of a relationship, whirlwind, like, they're gonna do what they want to do. When they actually went to Garrett's house, or Phil Graham's house rather, for Thanksgiving, I thought it was a really cool production team job where having his bedroom filled with his dad's memorabilia is literally like the perfect parallel of like his brain, because he has so much pressure on him from his father to be what his father was. I thought that was a really, really good way of showing it without saying it. I also said for episode 5 that Jules and Logan have a really weird relationship. I feel like in general, the chemistry read for these characters, like every single one of them was really good. But Jules and Logan, like in this episode, were too flirty. Like their chemistry doesn't feel platonic. If I didn't know that was his sister, I would think that they were trying to sleep together. I also added in here that for the Thanksgiving meal, Cindy in the book is wearing gloves. She's wearing like long gloves. And the way that they find out about the bruises is that she takes them off to do the dishes, and Hannah is the one who sees them. It's not that big of a detail. I feel like it was actually a better way of, because I mean, In the book, they were like, why is she wearing gloves inside? Like, I don't understand. So I feel like they did a good job of like making it more subtle. Like, she wasn't fully trying to hide it, because like if you showed up to someone's house on Thanksgiving and they're wearing these like gloves with a dress, like, whoa, like some people are styled like that, but I don't get the vibe that Cindy normally is. And then the actual scene of Garrett and Cindy talking was so close to the book, and it was so good. I give like the majority of the actors a lot of credit for this show. I know I said that the first episode was cringy, but as the show got on, I felt like went on, it felt so much better and less cringy. So I really don't know what they did to make it less cringy as it went on, but I felt like the chemistry reads were insane and they did a good job. Okay, and this is where the storyline really changes. So if you've read the book, you know that they go to Thanksgiving and he gets really upset about Cindy, and then he has this big hockey game coming up, and he's playing against one of the people that testified in court against Hannah, right? In the TV show, they have it be, I think he's supposed to be the person instead of the person who testified, if that makes sense. And basically, we see both of our main characters separated for the majority of the episode, kind of just like going through their own mental issues. And I felt bad for them both going through it alone. I wish they would have talked to each other, you know? I wrote at the beginning of the episode, throughout the whole episode, I wondered if Garrett was actually going to beat Delaney up. Like he has to, like he does in the book, but he has to, right? So in the book, he beats up Delaney after the game. It's on his way out that this is happening. And it is also after his dad made him angry. So the way that they changed it, where he did it on the ice, I feel like did a really good job. But once again, progressing the storyline for him to give him a real reason to see if he wants to continue with hockey or not. And then meanwhile, we have Hannah over here who is going to her music teacher like after hours to talk problems and her trauma. And I will say, I don't think that there was like a music teacher like relationship in the book. And I really enjoyed this relationship. I didn't expect to, and I didn't expect it at all, actually. So I really enjoyed the fact that it felt like there was somebody that hurt her, even if it wasn't another student. Actually, that's a lie. Elle knows what's going on. I loved Allie's character. And then in the same vein, literally, Garrett's relationship with his coach is phenomenal. I loved that portion of it where he's like, I don't want you on the ice if you don't like doing it. Like, you're not staying in. So then we get down to the actual fight between Garrett and Delaney. Now, I will say in the show it happens on the walk to the bus. Also, Delaney plays for Buffalo. Just saying. Plays for Buffalo in that one. But obviously they couldn't use exact names of things. I hate to say it, I like the fight more on the ice. I think that it upped the stakes a lot more, and I think that my main complaint from like episode 1 was like it didn't feel like there were stakes for Garrett to stay in hockey. And I feel like him getting in this fight and like causing all these problems actually made him realize something was wrong on his end of things. In all caps, I wrote that it's interesting that the storyline of the dad breaking them up wasn't in the show, because in the book, it's after the whole fight and everything. Hannah is at work and Phil Graham comes in and tells her, it's been enough distractions, you have to break up with my son. And then she follows through with it. So it was interesting seeing Garrett be the person that broke them up, because that is just not what I read. But I will say, I put on here, the argument was very well written and very well acted. So like I was in it. I was in it, you know? And I also enjoyed the conversation of Hannah and her mother and their relationship. I feel like you kind of like dive into it a little bit in the book, but not a ton. Like, you know that Hannah's family is not well off and that they pretty much have racked up legal fees from everything that had happened to her in high school. And because of that, the entire town turned on them. And they couldn't even afford to come for Thanksgiving. That's why she doesn't go back to Indiana. But I feel like the two things. One, in the show, you don't really get the vibe that Hannah's family is super poor. I mean, I told my boyfriend I wouldn't mention this, but I'm going to mention it. Hannah has a 13 Pro Max. Like, she has an expensive phone. Her mom has a 16E. She has the AirPod Maxes. Like, that's not giving, like, I can't afford to go to this school. Like, I'm sorry, I hate to say it like that. But, like, in the book, it's really emphasized how poor Hannah is and how much money she doesn't have and how many jobs she has to be able to go to Briar. So I thought it was interesting that the mom was like, we'll figure it out. We always do. But that being said, I still really liked that relationship. Okay, episode 8. I will say I was a hater of the inclusion of the ban, of her not being able to see other guys. In the book, I thought it made more sense because she had broken up with him, saying that she needed to sleep around and like get to know people and like blah 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 whatever. And he was like, fine, if you want to sleep around, go for it. And then tells everybody that she's off limits, basically. In this, it felt like that came out of nowhere. My boyfriend felt differently because he said that I was just seeing it from the point of view of what happened in the book. But I really felt like it came from nowhere and then ends up being like a rumor instead of it being real from Garrett. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know. I didn't like that. I didn't like that portion at all. And then I also really liked the scene of Hannah telling Allie everything, and Allie's response was spot on, which was, I just knew you weren't ready to tell me yet. Like, I have so many good things to say about Allie, but I fear I didn't write any of them down because I haven't read that book. And like I said, if I've learned anything, it's that I want to read that book. I wrote down Allie is the best character. I told you I really liked Allie. And then, yeah, the actual showcase was great. I really liked that. I liked the song. I liked the fact that Allie and Dean were the ones that got Garrett there. And then the ending of the season was crazy. Literally crazy. You mean to tell me she hooked up with Dean's, like, arch nemesis? Once again, I think I need to read this book. But yeah, that is the first season of Off Campus. My general opinions of everything, I definitely can see where they changed up a few bits of storyline, things that they didn't include, you know, generally like making Garrett a little bit less of a douchebag near the end. I will say I thought he was a douchebag at the end of the book. But I like what they did there. I thought that the acting was really good, except for that first episode. That one was rough. But I really liked the acting. I liked the casting. I thought the cast was very good. I thought the chemistry was insane. Like, it was overall a really good show, and I'm excited for season 2. I think I actually will continue reading these books. I wasn't sure I was going to because, like I said, I'm not really a sports romance girl, but I fear I need to know what happens between Dean and Allie because I think I'm a Dean girl. Like, I actually think Dean was the cutest of them all. So I'm going to keep reading the series. All right, and that's all I have for you guys today. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys have read The Deal by Elle Kennedy, or if you've read the rest of the Off Campus series, let me know. And let me know which one of the books was your favorite. All right, guys, I fear I'm checking off as a Dean girl. I'm sorry. I hope season 2 comes out soon because clearly I'm behind and I need to learn more about this whole series. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to follow me, I'm at Corey's Nail Diary on Instagram and TikTok. And that's all I have for you today. Bye.